Hi, everybody, and welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas, and today we're going to make a fun fold that is a book jacket fun fold. I can't take credit for the design. I first saw it made by Sue Campfield probably about a year ago, but I love this card design and I was anxious to share it with you today. Today is December 30th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you found me. I hope you like what you see and hit that subscribe button. And if you're with me live or you come back and watch the replay, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I truly appreciate it. And I enjoy being here with you. I'm going to flip this camera down so we can get started. And before we start, I want to show you what a book jacket fun fold card looks like. This is a fun fold. It fits in a regular A2 size envelope. It stands up and you have this little tower here, and it can stand and displays beautifully. You can either stand it so that it displays just like this, or you can open it and it'll stand up and display like that. A really pretty and easy card. I think you're going to find this is an easy tutorial. I will have a downloadable PDF for you that will go live, and that link will be right down below in the YouTube video description by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I hope you'll give this card a try. But I do want to stress again, this does fit in an A2 size envelope. It folds right up and slides right in there. So you can easy to mail and send. All right, so let's get started. I wanted to show you, because this paper is new paper. So before we even start, this is some of the new online exclusives, and this is called Refreshed Beauty. It is one of the papers that, I forget the name of it from a couple of years ago. It was Blackberry Bliss and had gold inlay. This is one that was redone, and that's what I used to make this card that I just showed you. But very different colors. We have, pumpkin pie, I believe it is, or not pumpkin pie, peach pie and lemon lime twist. We have daffodil delight, flirty flamingo, and granny apple green. And you can see, if you might remember this paper from before, and then if you turn them over, you have some leaves and floral designs, some diamonds, so really different. So that is one of the online exclusives, and that's the paper I used for this card that I just showed you. So let's get started with our card. We are going to start off with basic white. Now, I'm not using the basic white heavy because that's too heavy for this card. So either use your colored cardstock like I did in the one I previously showed you, or use just your basic white regular. Hi, Mary and Carla and Lydia and Joan. Thanks for joining me. So we are going to start off with two pieces of basic white. So you're going to need one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Your first piece is going to be 5.5 by 6 3/4. And your second piece is 5.5 by 7 1/4. We're going to start with the 5.5 by 7 1/4, and we're going to score this at 4 1/4. So I'm going to bring this down here so you can see. And on my long side, the 7 1/4 side, we're going to score at 4 1/4. Make sure I get my cutting blade out of there. Okay, so you have a 4 1/4 side, and we have a 3-inch side. And I'll show you what we'll do with those in a few minutes. Now we're going to take the 5.5 by 6 3/4, and we are going to score along the 6 3/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch, at 1.5 inches, at 2.5 inches, and at 3.5 inches. And then we are done with our cutting tool. Okay, so let's get rid of this. All right, so lots of folds. So the first thing we're going to make is that portion of the card that has this square, like this cylinder or chamber. So let's do that first. So we're going to score. All of these are going to be mountain folds. So you're just going to fold and burnish. And you do want to burnish these so that you get nice crisp edges to make that tubular piece that's going to make our book fold. So let's do this. Okay, and the last one is here. All right. So when we fold it, we're going to get something just like this. All right. So let's go ahead and adhere this. So I am going to use tear and tape. That is what I found has worked the best. I'm going to put it right along this fold line, not over it, but right alongside it. And just going to go down. Oops. And the tear and tape, as you know, if you've used it, once it's down, it's down. So I'm going to bring it right there, and I'm just going to tear. All right. Now I want to give this just a good burnishing, and we're going to go ahead and lift that up. So my pick tool came apart. There we go. And I'm just going to peel this back along the edge. And now we're ready to adhere this. So the best way to do this is fold this over. So you're going to take that first fold, that 1/2 inch, fold it back, and flatten out these other 2 folds. 1, 2. And then make sure your edges match top and bottom and give it a good press. And you now have your square or your tube for the card. So that's the first part of our card. Now, I don't like the way that's sitting. Let's cut that again. I just don't like the way that's sitting. And I'm not really sure why, unless when I was talking I didn't score right. So let's cut that again at 5.5 by 6 3/4. So I'm just going to take a piece of 8.5 by 11 and cut it at 5.5. And then we're going to go back here and cut this, open this up, and cut this at 6 3/4. All right, let's try that and try that again. Okay, so we're going to score at 1/2. So let's score that here. At 1.5. Two and a half, and 3.5. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry about that. Again, just mountain folds. And we're going to fold these all in. And then we're going to add our tear and tape. And we have, I guess the book binding portion of the card is then set. So let's see. Yep, that looks better. So let's go with that. And again, right along the fold line. Okay. And I'm going to give that a good burnishing. And we're just going to go ahead and peel this off. Okay. And again, I'm going to fold back, flatten these first two folds, and line up your edges. And there you go. So that looks much better. There is our book binding. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and we are going to add some pieces to this in just a minute. Here's the second portion of your card. This is that 7 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we scored it at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold this. Now the tricky part to this card, and I made this mistake myself, is normally when we open a card, it opens to the left. This card is going to open to the right. So what we're going to do is we're going to adhere this portion of the book binding to this edge of this part of the card, so that when you open it, you have that hidden part of your book, and your book binding portion is here. So before I do that, well, I want to do my inside. I think it's going to be a little bit easier if I do that. So I went ahead and I did cut a piece of basic white, and I'm just going to adhere that to here. Now, and that will be the inside part of my card. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do that with glue. Hi, Mary and Fran and Renee. Thank you for joining. So let's just go ahead. Now you can very much add this after you put the card together. But I just thought I would go ahead, since I have this ready, and add it to the inside here. So, and this is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So that's the inside. All right. Now we're going to close that, and we're going to adhere this. And to do this, we want to be able to put the tape on this side. This is what's going to adhere to the card. So whether you fold it like this, which I think is the easier way to do it, and just adhere it to this first section. So I'm going to grab some more tear and tape. And we're going to use tear and tape for this. The nice thing about the tear and tape is it holds really well. But once you get it on there, it's on there. So there's no wiggle room. So again, my card is going to go like this. So I'm going to adhere this portion with tape. And you're going to add tape right along the fold edges on both sides of this panel. So one there, and then one on this second fold right here. And let's do that right there. Okay, and I'm just going to give it a tear. All right. Now, I do want to adhere this down because it comes off a little easier when you do that. And then I am going to use my pick tool and pull back on that. So just going to pull back. And if it doesn't pull back initially for you, use your bone folder and give it a good press again so that that tape adheres to the, there we go, to your cardstock. And then we're going to do the same with this one. All right. Now I have just a little bit of tape overlapping. I'm going to fold it back on itself. And then to adhere this, I am going to match my edges of my bookbinding fold with the edge of this card base. So I'm going to, and you want them to match on the edges and at the top and bottom. So I'm just matching it up before I press down, because once I press down with this tear and tape, it's there for good. All right, so that looks pretty good. Top and bottom match, and I'm going to give it a good press. And wait a minute on that. Hold on that. I think I flipped it around. Okay. So, yeah, I did flip it around. Boy, today is not my day. Let's see if we can get this to come up easily here. And flip that around. Do you ever have one of those days where you're just not quite, no matter what you do, things kind of go awry? Well, today's been one of those days, so I apologize. Let's see if we can get this up here easily. Remember I said this tape doesn't come up easily. So let's see what we can do here. What a heck of a way to do this, isn't it? Let's see if I can get that. Well, I'm going to go with it anyway. And your tape part, and this will never be seen. So I'm going to show you what we'll do with that. So this is where, once you put your tape on here, you flatten this out. And then the taped edge is going to match up right along the edge of the card and the top and bottom. There we go. Now we have our bookbinding portion. So we're going to, I'm going to trim that off with just some scissors, and we're going to add a piece of designer series paper in there. But before we do that, let's do our bookbinding. We're going to decorate. So I have a piece of old olive, and I'm using designer series paper that's coming out in the new catalog. This is called Floral Delight. And it's the Lemon Lolly and Daffodil Delight, and you have some old olive in there and some Pool Party, just really pretty designer series papers. So I'm using this one, and on the back is the checks. So we're going to use that. But when you turn these over, you have some gingham and some floral, and these look like almost like a little basket weave, and then some diagonals. So really pretty designer series paper, one of my favorites. So I took a piece of Granny Apple Green with the checks, and we're going to adhere this right to our book binding, right to the binding of our card. So I'm just going to add this. Now, the card I showed you, I did not layer. I did not put a layer underneath the designer series paper. So you can make it as simple, and I'll show you both in the end so that you can see the difference, or as elaborate as you want to. So I'm going to take this and adhere this right to the center of that book binding portion of my card. Okay. Now for the outside, I'm going to open this up so that this is flat, and we're going to adhere a piece of designer series paper to this portion of the card. And I'm going to go ahead and use the floral side for that. Now, this is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, but I will have all of the measurements for you in the PDF tomorrow morning. This card is actually going to be part of a blog hop. It's the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators Fun Fold Hop tomorrow. So here's our inner portion, okay? Now we are going to fix that area that I messed up. And we're going to do that with a piece of the designer series paper. Let's move this out of the way. That area was 4 1/4 that we folded or scored on. So I'm going to take a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to slide that in there. And I was sliding a piece in there anyway that was 2 inches by 5 1/4, but because I messed up, I'm going to make it a little bit wider. So this is going to be 5 1/4. And let's make sure that this isn't going to be too wide. Okay, let's cut that down then to 3 3.5. Because part of that was taken up by our book binding. All right, we're going down to 3. So always a way to fix your goofs, and I definitely goofed, but there are ways to fix these. So I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper and I'm going to adhere this to the inside. And I am going to use the checked part or the gingham part because I used the floral on the other side. And I just would like, I want this to match the stripe that I have on the inside of the card. So there we go. I can't even tell that anything was wrong. So let's fold that up. Now you can fold this flat, and we're going to do that to work on the rest of the card. For the front of the card, I took a piece of old olive, again, a panel, and I forget what this is. I think this is 2 3/4. It's 3 inches, 3 inches by 5 1/4. And then I took a piece of basic white that's 2 3/4 by 5. And this is embossed with the Darling Designs 3D embossing folder. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the old olive panel that we're going to add to the front of our card. So let's get this pretty even all the way around. Okay. And then we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. Now, to decorate my front, my focal point, I'm using all die cuts. And I'm going to show you those in just a second. I'm going to line this up so that my panel here matches with the top and bottom so that they're both the same. All right. So far, here is our bookbinding card. And you can see when we open it up. Now we want to do a focal point for this. So I used the dies, and I did pre-cut these, but I want to show them to you. These are the Delightful Wishes dies, and these are coming out in the new catalog. And I used the flowers. These are just no stamping, just die cutting for these. And you have centers for each of these. So let me show you what one looks like. So this is the first one. I cut this in Lemon Lolly is my background. And then I cut the detailed die from Daffodil Delight. And you have these wee little dies here that there's 2 of them that cut the center for the flowers, and you get 2 different sizes. So this is what I thought would be fun to use on the front of my card. Now, I did go ahead. You also have some very fun detailed leaves, and let me show you those. You have 2 different dies, one for the background and one for the overlay. I used Mossy Meadow along with Old Olive for these. And you have 2 different sizes, so I made both of them. So let me put these out of the way. And we have one more flower. I showed you the large one, but I saved the small one to show you how to put it together. So let me get those pieces here for us. I'm going to grab my pick tool. And this is the wee tiny little center for that. And then I have our sentiment or greeting. So to put these together, I am going to use my silicone mat because we're going to use fine tip glue. And these just simply overlay one another. Let's slide this onto here and put it where you can see it. And they're just gonna, it's not science. You're gonna fit them on, and they fit on very nicely and they go on easily. But I am gonna use my fine tip glue to put these on. And just layer them on there. And then we're ready to put our card together. So I apologize for the error, but you got to see how to fix a mistake from my mistakes, and hopefully that will help you sometime in the future. So I'm just going to pick this up and lay this down, and I'm just going to center, kind of match my petals up. There we go. And then we have this wee little, let me move this, brown area that is the center of the flower. And it's going to go right in here. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on that. Okay. There's a little piece of fuzz on there. And we're going to put that right in here. So these are the flowers and leaves we're going to use. So I am going to pop these up with some dimensionals, but let's see how we're going to do this. So let's try one here, and maybe this one overlaying, and put our other leaf coming out of here. I like that. So let's go ahead. I did put dimensionals on these ahead of time, and we're going to pop this on there. This card is great for any occasion. It really is. The one I showed you was a thank you card, and I'll bring that back. But then this one is a happy birthday card. So really, great to make. I thought, what a beautiful wedding card this would be, in white, all white, and maybe some gold. And I may still do that and post that. Now I'm just going to add some dimensionals, but this is going to overlap, so you don't want dimensionals here. So this will be as far as I go on that side with my dimensionals, and we can add one up here, and then I think we're good. So let's go ahead and add this. Renee, to use the breath, your breath to get that off. That's a good idea. I did not think of that. I'm hoping I don't have to do that too often, but that I will remember that. Thank you. And let's add some dimensionals to our leaves here. I'm going to cut these in half. And we're going to pop that on right there. So really a very easy fun fold that I think you could really manage, even if you're a beginning stamper, following the directions. Let's add this. I'm going to add that right in there. And let's bring our little one in here. And I'm going to use some mini dimensionals for that one because that's pretty small. And I think we need just one. Now you could add more leaves here if you wanted to. I just kind of wanted to do these, but who knows? I may go back and add a third. So there's this one. And then we're going to pop this up with dimensionals. Now you could take ribbon and wrap that underneath this, but we're going to add some gems to this. And we have our bookbinding fun fold. I'm going to add this down here a little bit. Okay, so let's add some gems here. I pulled out a couple different ones. I pulled out the lemon lolly with the rainbow assortment, and I also have the ombre matte for the old olive. But I almost think I like these opal round that have daffodil delight in them. So let's see how those are going to look. I think they have just a little bit more sparkle to them. So let's grab one of these and put that here. Oh yeah, I like that. And we're going to grab another one and put that over here. And let's grab a little one and put that here. Let's move all this out of the way and let me show you our card. So here's the card standing up, what it would look like from the top. When someone displays it, they can display it like this. They can open it up and stand it, and it will display like that. You can even open it up and have it display with these, this partially open so that it displays. So really pretty card for showing or for being able to put out. So here's our two bookbinding fun folds. Let me bring you back to me. I hope you enjoyed tonight's card, even though I made some goofs, but it all worked out okay. And it just happens. So I hope you'll give it a try. Again, I will have the PDF with measurements in that by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, because this is going to be part of a Fun Fold blog hop. And go over to my website and you'll be able to click the links down and see some other great fun folds by some really talented demonstrators. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Stay safe and well. I'll be back with you on Thursday evening, and I'll see you next year. Bye, everybody.